me to take the... Oh, I did click it over already. Hi, guys. Welcome to the channel. I was going to fix something, and I ended up going ahead to cut it. So anyway, we are here. Hi, I'm Lady Snipeshot, full of mistakes as always. I hope you're doing well today. I hope you're excited about what we have going on today. And, you know, if you're just coming in, this is the Gametographers, but we are having our virtual photographers convention, as well as our annual Extra Life live stream. And we are so happy you guys are here today. I'm just going to check a couple things. If you can't hear me or if the audio cuts out, let me know. It's better to let me know than to let me just talk with no sound. But I am joined here today with the one and only and amazing Fourth Focus.
Hello.
How are you doing today?
I am good, thank you. How are you?
I'm
ready?
Doing well. Am I ready? No, I'm never ready.
For the whole day?
For the whole day? I'm excited about the whole day. This event has always been super fun, and the first one I didn't get to be a part of it. I can't remember. I think I was moving across. No, I don't know what I was doing. I was doing something that was, I don't know. But I got to be a part of last year's, and that was really, really fun. I can't remember what I played last year, but this year I'm playing Ghost of Tsushima, which is later, and I'm excited about that.
It's about time.
It's about time, right? Anyway.
Well, it's good to also be given the chance to be a part of it, actually. You know, it's a great cause, as we know. And yeah, it's nice to not just be watching, but to get on right from the start as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
We can make all the mistakes early on. It's not like the way.
And then you can be done with it, like we talked about just before the stream.
No.
But well, I'm so glad that you're here. It's really great that I'm so impressed with the team that put this together. I was kind of low-key like in the background, like on a couple of things, but to everybody that put this together, and to Lim, who pioneered this idea, and just, you know, you guys did a great great job. I'm looking at the chat, and it says it was Dreams last year, Rach. Oh yeah. And he said, I remember the creepy hotel reception with the bookcase. I remember that now. I remember. Created this little vampires hotel lobby and had like Halloween decorations and stuff like that. So it was interesting.
Like a dream that you've forgotten.
Oh man, a dream that I forgot. That makes me sad. Now I need to go play Dreams because I feel like I've neglected all of my dreams. They're just floating. But anyway, keep in mind this stream is for Extra Life. So, you know, all the support that you guys give for that is much appreciated. It's all for the kiddos. Gotta love them kiddos. But anyway, let's get on with what we're talking about today, which is building a better VP blog. And you've worked on your Fourth Focus blog, and it's been so inspirational to the community. It's been inspirational to me, and you've been such a driving force with information you share, and you know, the support for other people's events and the contests that you've had. But before we talk about the blog itself, and I think I've asked this question before, probably in a long time ago interview, but where did the Fourth Focus come from? Where did your name come from?
The name, I don't know if you have asked me before, but apologies to anyone who has already heard the story. But yeah, so the name's kind of a mixture of things, really. Some bits more obvious than others. So I think coming up with a good name, or well, I mean, I'm not saying mine is a good name in general. If you are looking at starting a blog, the name is something to put a bit of thought into, because it's, you know, it's your presence, it's a bit of your brand, isn't it? And you know, whether you want it to be something personal to you or to kind of represent the brand that you're going for, or the content of the blog. And I didn't really want it to be about myself, so I wanted something that was distinct from my usual usernames. Now the focus part is pretty straightforward, just something photography related.
Mm.
So and then the other parts of the fourth, initially, well, sort of on a basic level, is because I was using a PS4 at the time, still am. So it's partly the four in reference to that, but also it's a reference to Sony's old PlayStation 2 adverts, which were like those crazy the third place adverts. Um, and I just wanted to kind of echo that a little bit. So it's using fourth instead of the third place, so the fourth, and then a bit of alliteration with focus. And then finally, I do think that virtual photography is a way that games are breaking the fourth wall. So coming out of the game into the real world, invading our lives. We put them up on the wall now that way. And yeah, so it's a kind of collection of those things, really. And I went through quite a few. I had another option which was in Latin, which was I think something like Ludens Captura. I think it was that might be the wrong Latin, but it was basically just the Latin for play capture.
Mm-hmm.
And the other ideas has never felt quite right.
Mm-hmm.
And as soon as I settled on this, and when I put the logo in place, it just felt as though I'd got the right one for me. So yeah,
Mm-hmm.
that's what it's all about.
Yeah, absolutely. I've named a couple things, and coming to that moment when you realize, like for my podcast production, I use Sound Maiden, and coming to that, I mulled through like combination after combination and just trying to figure out, what I could
Yeah,
call this, and then it's like when you hit on that name, you're just like, whoa,
that's the
it's that
one. Yeah,
moment.
you have to think of some wrong ones first
Oh
before
yeah,
the right one seems right, if that makes sense.
yeah.
You can think of the right one first, but it doesn't. You don't know it's the right one until you've thought of some others and compared, and you go, yeah, they don't work, and you go back to the original one, and then yeah. As long as you're happy with it, I mean, whatever name you come up with, if it was just called Mix Blog, it would have had a different sort of focus on it, I think, and it would have been more targeting myself, which is exactly what I didn't want to do.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it all just comes down to the personal choice of what it is you're creating, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I do want to say thank you. I'm not exactly sure who gave the donation, but I do want to thank you for the $25 donation. That's really awesome. I'm not sure who. It didn't show up on my screen, but thank you so much for that. Um, Disc Primitive, when you were talking about the old PlayStation ads, he said David Lynch PlayStation ads.
That's the one. Yep.
So, how long has it been now since you started writing the blog? I can't. It's been a
um,
while.
I since I started the blog specifically, I'm not sure because I launched the website. So that was another thing with the name. If you are
Mhm,
choosing a name you intend to set up as a blog, it's worth looking at whether the domain name, as in
mm,
the actual URL, is available, because you don't want to come with what's a brilliant name and then go, oh, the website's taken,
mhm,
or it clashes with some other existing one. Um, so yeah, I originally set up, I think thefourthfocus.com was in about 2017, but it didn't have the blog on at the time. So it was
mhm,
really just a, a portfolio site, if you will. Um, and I wanted to just do it really to give me a more permanent place to sort of display the images that I was capturing at the time.
mhm,
The blog came about partly because I switched from the Adobe software I was using over to Wix, and that had the built-in blog sort of facilities.
mhm.
So that just made it easier because I didn't have to use any cumbersome software. It was all kind of part in. So I don't know. I should have looked. I should have checked, shouldn't I? It's probably a couple of years. I've written 66 posts now, which
Wow.
doesn't sound a huge amount, but um, yeah, I guess yeah, it's probably 18 months to 2 years, maybe. I'm not actually sure.
Yeah. And it's bi-weekly that you put it out, correct?
Oh, the newsletter is. The blog
Gotcha.
posts themselves are just as and when. So it depends on, because obviously I do
Gotcha.
this in sort of spare time, if you will. So it depends around work, what can fit around the children. Um, and yeah, so sometimes, I might get 2 or 3 out in a week, and other
Mhm.
times it might be 2 weeks with nothing.
Well,
um,
Arkham Lover in the chat says, at least as long as I've been on Twitter, he says, it was one of my first exposures to the VP community. So about 2016, 2017 with the website. So, or question, that was a question. So yeah.
the website will be that old. Yeah, I think it's probably 4 years in February or something like that. Yeah, it was 2017 sounds very right for the site, but the blog was a little bit later.
Yeah. It's so crazy is that my phone going off? Why is my phone going off? My sister's calling
Yeah,
me.
you lose track of time.
Yeah, it's crazy that we have all been doing this now, like for as long as we have.
Yeah.
So that's passion right there. Passion. Um, so that actually kind of goes into my next question. Did you think that after all this time, you'd still, be doing this and still be writing the blog? Do you ever get tired of it? Do you ever find yourself like, I want to kind of focus on something else or?
Um, so I kind of would say I did think I'd still be doing it. So when I first began, like with actually capturing my virtual photographs, and that it's such a natural hobby. It's just the culmination really of my real world photography hobby and my ever persistent gaming hobby. So that was inevitably going to carry on.
Mhm.
As soon as I started writing the blog, when I begin something like that, I'm persistent if nothing else. So I will carry on. And I think a big tip I would give to anyone looking to start their own page, their own site, even with social media, is just keep at it. Don't expect immediate results. Don't expect overnight success, and take the slow steps and be aware of them, because it's easy to just get lost and see someone else doing more than what you think you are, and to think, oh, I'll just stop.
Mhm.
And I've got to the point, especially now, where I think I've built up so much there that it would be a waste to just stop doing it.
Mhm.
So it it's almost becoming self-perpetuating now. I want to keep doing it, but I also am ever more reluctant to stop doing it, if
Yeah.
that makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think persistence is key.
Yeah. Well, going along with that, and my thought just fell out of my head. What was I going to ask you? It was an important question. Okay, I remember. So when it comes to, sorry, I can't help myself. When it comes to, you were talking about when you're seeing other people that are possibly doing more than you, and on the opposite side of that, a lot of times we may think, well, I should add that to what I'm doing too, or I should,
Hmm.
add more. How do you stay so focused on the one thing that you're doing to where you don't become overwhelmed? Because I know that's easy to do. I do it all the time.
That is easy to do, and it's easy to load yourself with too many expectations. Um, I don't know if I do achieve that, to be honest, because I mean, I have kind of stepped back from certain aspects. I don't spend as much time on social media because I became aware that you're trying to build two separate things. Then, if you put your efforts into the social accounts, then the blog will suffer because
Hmm.
it's consequently got less time for it. But similarly, you can't neglect the social profiles because that's where people interact with you and everything. But I made the decision to sort of step a little bit back from Twitter interactions, and even with the sort of weekly themes and things, I don't take part in as many of those as I used to, because then that just lets the time that I do have available, it lets me capture and create and write things for the blog, which is where I want the content to persist, because it's less momentary than say
Hmm.
Twitter, for example,
Yeah.
isn't it?
Yeah.
So yeah, it is a hard balance, but you got to just learn by experience, I guess. You sort of start to identify as you go. I didn't have the plan at the start, that's for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, it looks like Fire Scorpio just joined the chat too.
Oh, good.
And for everybody that I didn't acknowledge already in the chat, I do apologize about that. I was a little nervous at first, so it just totally fell out of my head to do that. Uh, Disc Primitive, Godric Snow, Shinobi Space. I don't know how to say your name, Riffin, maybe, kind of like Griffin without the G. Art by Community, Live Evil Games. Man, you guys, there's so many of you. Arkham Lover, Tidy Mice, y'all are great. So just wanted to say hello to all of you guys because I didn't do that. So to keep going on with the topic that we're on, aside from your love for VP, what inspired you to start writing the blog? Like, what made you go, okay, so I do this, but I feel that there's a need for this? Like, what was that moment?
Um, so there's a kind of a few angles on that. For those who don't know, so I'm a research scientist by day. So a lot of what I do is practical work, which is akin to the capturing side of virtual photography, and then reporting and writing that. So I was already a published author as a scientific author. So it it's just a parallel process really to do that practical capture and then convey the information. So um, my job is really all about learning how things work and then passing on that information. So once I had the option to run a blog, it felt quite natural for me to essentially write
For the
informative
kids. Keep up the
topics
awesome
about it.
work, Gametographers.
And I noticed
Drew.
really that, say, in photography, you've got lots of sort of art websites and you've got lots of camera review technical websites, but we've got the same for games. You know, we've got game reviews and not like. But there wasn't really anything covering the specific kind of niche, if you will, of photo mods and virtual, so nothing dedicated. So I just thought there was a space there, and that's what I'd start to focus on. And then the rest of it, the style that I do it is purely just a reflection of the way I work with things. So yeah, ideas generally are not all that sort of premeditated. I just do it as it comes, really.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah, nice. Awesome. Yeah. Um, I I tend to be like really scatterbrained, and I go with ideas, and then they tend to get lost in translation. Just wanted to throw this out there. Thank you so much, Drew, for the $25 donation. We really, really, really appreciate that. So,
we'll mention Drew later.
Yup. Don't give away the surprises. So, looking at my questions, let's see. I was actually, it's funny because you kind of like rolled into my next question, which was outside of the blog, do you write anything else? But other than the blog, do you write anything else that's more like the blog? Because I know you do a lot of more technical writing.
Yeah, I don't write anything creatively. I mean, I've written about this before, saying I don't consider myself to be particularly creative. I think I'm more informative than I am creative. Um, and again, even capturing the pictures, my approach to it is probably a little bit more sort of technical, and I I spend most of my time on getting the compositions exactly as I want them. And I don't feel like I'm as expressive as a lot of other people. I'm certainly not as freely expressive. But yeah, so no, I don't write anything creatively at all. It's purely between this and my work, unfortunately.
Cool.
I don't think I could. I don't think I've got the imagination to. It's same, when I was younger and I tried drawing something. If I tried to draw something from scratch, I don't know what to do. I can't do anything. But if I do an engineering drawing, as a one-to-one scale, I can do that.
Yeah.
It's just the way my head works.
You sound a lot like Justin, because he's very same way. Like he used to do some drafting and stuff, and he's like, I could do that all day because it's all based on exact measurements and things like that. And he's like, for me, he's like, I just don't, I can't sit down and read like a lot of fiction or anything like that because it's not his, what he likes, so.
Yeah, I enjoy fiction as someone else's content, but it's not something I could produce.
Yeah. Lim says, Justin, you mean your husband? Yes, my husband. Yes, I've actually caught myself a couple times saying fiance, and I'm like, no, husband. So, a nice addition to this year. So it made it a lot brighter. So, so to get into the technical aspects of blog writing, what is your process like?
It depends on the post, actually. So the one that most requires a process would be the photo mode reviews. So I try to be very thorough with those. I mean, I remember writing the first one and thinking, I hope this isn't too dull and too heavy for people to actually be interested in. So I tried to catch the right balance between giving contextual stuff and giving factual stuff. Mm-hmm. So like if I was to start a review for a new game, first of all, obviously you've got to use it. You've got to get yourself familiar with both the game and what the photo mode's got in it. So I will make little notes. I've got a little book that I write down what all the settings are, and just purely for my own reference later, so I can easily remind myself what it had. And then I will usually try and play through the game a little bit to get a feel for the kind of content that there is there. So they include a section on the photographic opportunity. So I want to try and see as much of the game, not necessarily completed, depends how long I've got, but at least see the type of content that's available, and see what inspirations I get from it and what I think other people will get from it. Mm-hmm. And then I will come back and start to put in. So I write a little intro first, which I generally do just off the cuff. Hopefully it works out okay. Sometimes I struggle. And then, capture a few images that I think will work, start to write the post on the factual side of it, and then I see the gaps where I think I need maybe a descriptive image or an example image. That comes about sort of after I've written some of the words, because you start to see the elements that would benefit from a visual depiction. Mm-hmm. And then really it's just try and get through it all, start to get conscious of any deadline you were trying to meet, or how long you've spent on it unnecessarily. And it probably, I try and do each section on separate days so that my mindset changes a little bit. So mm-hmm. I'll do the intro on one day, I'll do some of the images and like the controller layout on a separate day. The implementation stuff, because that's all factual, I will do on a different day to the photographic opportunity stuff, which I think is more of the inspiration and the content. And then I try to never post them without rereading it, because mm-hmm. it's easy to get lost especially when you're writing a big post. It's easy to get lost in the sort of details of it, and you might lose sight of the overall feel of the post. So I try to read it through and make sure it's conveying what I want it to.
Yeah.
Hopefully it usually does. But other posts are not quite as technical as that, so I try to do some that are more visual. The things, so I do the archive hour month for future, and I really enjoy doing that because it lets me share other people's content.
Take it.
And I pick those throughout the month, so I've got the content accumulating there, and then when I come to do the post, it's so part of the reason I picked them is not just the best pictures, but it's the pictures that give me something to think about, or what it communicates to me. And then I just write a little piece quickly in 3 lines or so, that what I think is interesting about that. So that's a very different approach to the reviews. Mm-hmm. But yeah.
Well, we've got a question in the chat from Arkham Lover. After finding out your day job, your writing style makes a lot more sense. Still, oh, maybe it's a comment. Sorry. Still absolutely love them. Your photo mode reviews are some of my favorites. So I don't know exactly what's
Cool.
going on in the chat with
Thank
you
you.
guys. It says that was aggressive enough. Take it. But I don't know what you guys are talking about. That's funny. He's like saying all kinds of stuff. You guys are, whoa, thanks for
Oh,
the
it's a donation, yeah.
Woo! Thank you so much. Lim knows, apparently. Nice. I'm just gonna keep going on with this. You guys do your thing. So, um, so now that photo mode is so popular with so many things going on in the community, how do you choose what you're going to write about? Because there is just like there's challenges here, there's share of the weeks over here, there's this, that, and the other. Like, how do you narrow that down now?
So the stuff like challenges and things, I don't really write about on the blog. They do go in the newsletter.
Mm-hmm.
So the fortnightly newsletter is kind of my task to try and round up some of the interesting events that are happening.
Mm-hmm.
In terms of choosing what to write about, so back at the beginning, so when I first started it, I actually wrote a couple of posts that sort of introduced myself and a little bit, basically as a background,
Mm-hmm.
so that anyone visiting could understand who I was and why I was writing this. But then I just wanted to get that done once and get it out of the way. Then I left that, and then I approached games that I thought were most relevant. Obviously, because you're not sort of on the latest thing at the time. So I started with Horizon Zero Dawn because it was, I think, for many people, a bit of a pivotal moment for virtual photography. By no means the start of virtual photography, but definitely a key inspiration for it into a lot of people's consciousness. So then so from there I just chose interesting and I think popular games in a way. And then now, obviously, there's certain games that inspire me. So Ghost of Tsushima, which you are finally playing, was something I was so keen to play and to write about. And I think the more inspired you are by something, the easier it is to produce content for it. But also, I like to come up with ideas that I think help to help people's concerns in some ways. So I covered things like the reusing your old images, because I don't think you should suffer the pressure of use it once and throw it away. So I wanted to get that kind of thing down. Same with the copyright ownership, which it was quite well received, I think, recently. I'm glad that people find that useful. And it's just that, again, it's that factual thing. I'm quite happy with breaking down information and repackaging it for someone else to benefit from. So that dictates half of the stuff that I do. And then obviously you've got things such as the Mortal Shell review just done now, and that's a big thank you to Shinobi for approaching me as a request to write the review. So I was more than happy to oblige with that. It's definitely not my kind of game, as he knows. But at the same time, I did enjoy sort of adjusting my style and my approach to give it the time and attention that it deserved. And yeah, so hopefully a future going on, there's a combination of factors of both me choosing things that I enjoy and choosing things that I think the community enjoys.
Nice. Yeah, I told Shinobi that the last time we chatted, which was on stream, challenge accepted with Mortal Shell. He said it's not a game I would play, so I'm gonna try to play it. I'm probably gonna fail so hard, and that's okay.
Well, it expects you to die, doesn't it? That's the point.
Yeah.
But you just got to. I mean, if you want to do it, this is why I wrote in the review that if you try and approach it casually and just think, yeah, I'll just breeze through and get some cool shots, it won't work. You will be crushed, and your inspiration, your morale will be crushed. But if you give it the respect it needs, then it works, and you will get into it. But you've got to be patient.
Yeah. I feel like if I can play Celeste, I can be patient enough to try and
Yeah.
play Mortal Shell. I don't know how my skill level will be, but we'll see. We'll see. Maybe I'll do that next on my stream. Arkham Lover actually has a question this time. I'm correct in saying that it's actually a question. What part of your blog have you been the most proud of?
Ooh, good question. I would say right now, I would be proud of the recognition that it's getting within studios and developers. So people probably aren't terribly aware, but I've been accepted as an official media outlet now. So I've got access to PlayStation's media portal. It's a small step, but it means I've got access to official assets and things like that. And I just see that I'm quite proud of the fact that it's been noticed enough to be given that recognition, having just been built by me in my spare time in some ways,
Yeah.
So I think that would be the thing I'm most proud of right now is the recognition that it's slow and it's small recognition, but it's starting to get that. In terms of actual content on there, I don't know. I'd probably just say the overall visual style of it. Again, because of someone who I don't think of myself as being really creative, I look at the website now and I'm quite pleased with the visual presentation of it. So for me, that feels like something that is difficult to achieve, the actual visual styling. So I think I'm kind of proud of that because it's not something I think I'm automatically good at, if that makes sense.
Yeah, nice. No, that's awesome. That's awesome. I remember you had made the post not long ago about what we, getting opinions about, the style and the color and the way that you have it. And
Oh yeah,
I think it looks fantastic. I love the minimal look to it. It looks really, really great. But dude,
thank
that
you.
is such a big thing that you are now a media source. That is that's a huge achievement.
Thank you.
Congrats. Congrats. That's so cool. So, by the way, I did miss a comment a minute ago from Shinobi. It was when you were talking about the uh, uh, doing the review for Mortal
Yep.
Shell, and he said you're welcome for I just wanted to throw that out so
Okay.
you know that
Thank you.
he said that. So, that's so cool. So, um, going off of that a little bit, is it harder to write now when you have so much more to refer to and trying to narrow it down, or when photo mode wasn't as popular? Like is your, has it given away to like inspiration? Like has it kind of like balanced out or?
Yeah, it is a good question. That I think there's two. I don't know if it's harder, but I definitely feel a little bit more pressure on getting the writing done now. Partly because when you're doing it at a relaxed pace, you don't apply any pressure to yourself. And now, as I've tried to get up to date with writing reviews on newer material and doing the odd bit of news and fresh content, then you do sort of feel that a new game comes out, and you want to get the posts up there quickly because you want to kind of be on the wave of interest. So yeah, there is an added pressure with that. The PS5 release is frustrating from my perspective because being in the UK, and obviously the rest of Europe is the same, we're a week behind everyone else. So not only am I competing with media outlets that are getting units ahead of launch, I'm getting it behind the rest of the world. So I feel a little bit behind on that, but I just kind of readjust my approach there, and I think you focus on sort of quality and level of detail rather than speed. So
Yeah, I could see that being a bit more of a challenge. Like you said, especially with now that so many more games are adding photo mode, it's like, well,
yeah,
this one has a photo mode, and this one now has a photo mode. So
I mean, I would love to have it like an easier way of finding out, because a lot of times games don't mention it yet, and then it's only maybe after launch that they might go, oh, and by the way, check out the photo mode. And I really want to know in advance. So there's some of the games that have been announced coming soon. Have you seen Kenna? I think it's called Bridge of Spirits. I forget the full name.
No, I haven't yet.
But it's a gorgeous little sort of, these little creatures are called rot, but it's such a fabulous looking game. And I think it's going to really inspire a lot of people, but I don't know whether it is a photo mode. If anybody already knows, then do let us know. So I'm trying to get in touch with them to get a comment or a contribution from them, and we'll find out. But yeah, it'd be nice to be able to know in advance more often, wouldn't it? But yeah, you're right. More and more games are getting it, which is great. Yeah, gives us all more to do.
Yeah, and I feel the pressure for wanting to play all of these games. So I can't imagine how you'd feel writing about these. So
I don't think you can. As a single person, you can't cover everything. It would be ridiculous. If I was to do it full time, then there's so much more I could and would do. But you can't let it take over. So again, it's about finding that right balance, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So for someone that's interested in possibly, blog writing, what are some tips that you could share with them on doing that?
So I think a key point is probably to have the target audience in mind when you start out. That will help you decide on the kind of content you put on there, and also the type of branding that you put on it. So you might choose to do something that's very personal and it's about your story, in which case, your target audience is probably people that already know you. But if you're aiming at something that's targeting the mass market, or people who will just come to it cold, then you don't want to make it about you, which is exactly why I didn't want to brand mine with my own name and my face and whatnot, because I wanted it to just be about the content rather than the creator. So there's no right or wrong way to choose, but I think if you're aware of the way you are heading from the start, that does help. That you align everything accordingly, I think. Hopefully.
There's a comment about Kenna, and Shinobi says Kenna Dev said that they want a PM, but they're not sure it'll be out on launch.
Okay.
So there's hope there.
Definite hope. They will. They definitely will. Yeah. The other thing I'd say about sorry.
No, go ahead.
It just came into my head immediately. About creating a blog is the one thing that you shouldn't lose track of, whether you do make it personal or sort of branded, is to not let your personality be overwhelmed. So I think the most interesting blogs do show the user's personality, because otherwise you become a bit robotic and you're matching other people's content. You don't want to do that. So make it about your inspirations, but targeting them in the right way. So yeah, I'd say let your own personality show through still.
I've had conversations like that a lot lately. In recording these Twitch courses that I'm working on with work. That was one of the notes that I got, because from a couple of my takes, he was just like, let your personality show through it, because you have a great personality. So it's a little bit wild and nutty, but it's great to show who you are, because that makes it more genuine and authentic. So
yeah, I mean, if you try to create the content you think other people want, it will become hollow. And the best content is made by people who care about it.
Absolutely. Yes, that is so true. Shinobi Spaces says, I have a terrible personality, though. No. No, you don't. Man, do I have to come over there and beat you like I have to do Lim all the time? I'm always having to be like, Lim, come on, man. You got this. So is there anything you would have done differently from the start if you could go back and apply what you've learned now?
Um, would I have done it differently? So I think it would be you could possibly try to accelerate things a little bit more if because once you've seen a bit of the progression that is possible to make, then you could go back and sort of target that early on. But for example, the media outlet thing, while it would be brilliant to do that straight away, I couldn't have done. So it that's a consequence of having built the platform and got some content on there. So if I'd have just gone to PlayStation UK with a freshly, an empty website, just a URL, then I wouldn't have got it.
Mm-hmm.
So it would be, yeah, it'd be nice to do it quicker, but I think given the way it's fitted into my life, I don't think I would have actually changed very much, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, not really.
Good. That's good to know. I'm looking at my video, and I am orange now. My sunlight is coming in my room, and I'm just orange.
It's a healthy glow.
So much vitamin C.
Yeah.
It's probably zero vitamin C. It's funny. I got tickled because Art by Committee said when we were talking about what Shinobi said, haha, nothing like a constructive beating for encouragement. Oh, geez. He says, when she calls me by Shinobi Space, I already feel like she's using my full name, like my mom when she was mad at me. Sorry, Shinobi. I don't mean to. I read it, and so it just comes out. Chris, is it
Past
past
your
your
bedtime.
bedtime? And he says it's midnight, Daddy. You guys are funny. I've learned that the internet is a funny place to be, and I love people's comments can be so creative sometimes, and they get me tickled so much. So well, that's really all the questions that I have right now. If any of you guys in the chat have any questions, go. Oh, yep, there's already another question. What are your goals for the future of your blog?
Oh, so I intend to basically continue building it in a similar way that I've already done. There's certain ideas that I would love to implement. I don't necessarily know how. So the big vision I have that's a totally different idea to anything that's on there is a location scout style of thing. So with real world photography, you'll get obviously you scout locations for the best places to take certain pictures, and there's websites that will kind of aggregate all of that onto real maps. And I would absolutely love to find a way, let's say, to take the Ghost of Tsushima map and get it in there as an interactive point where people could add vantage points. Now,
cool.
I don't have the facility to do that. I don't know how to do that, but I would love to do that.
That's amazing. That's so cool.
So if anybody wants to do some some coding or whatnot, and they can help with that, then you'd be more than welcome. But I don't know how.
That's so interesting. I wish we had like a Google Earth for video games.
So you just take the map. I mean, that's the map there. Actually, that's the print of it, the cloth one. But yeah, if you could just let people put on points, and it just build up over time. Then, so you have the photograph that you've taken and where it was taken, and people can be inspired to go to that location. Or if you want to, how many times do you get people ask, where do you do the black background? Where do you do the white background? There's always points on the map, isn't there? Yeah,
it's
so
true.
just adding those. So
Maybe
I might try and think of a simplified version of it, but yeah, I don't know.
You could totally do an article about those places. Have everybody submit their favorite places, and then you go venture into those places, and kind of like make like a top 5 locations or something.
Yeah. So the other thing that I really want to do more of, because I'm obviously there's basically been the sole contributor to the blog so far, and I want to give more people the opportunity really to to put something that's a bit more permanent out there, because social media is brilliant for live, action and interaction rather. But those posts disappear so quickly. And I think there's so many people with really rich and interesting stories and backgrounds now. And I just want to give a space that more of those stories can be told and held for people to see at any time, not just if they saw the post at the right moment. So I want to really expand the community section on the blog and get more guest writers on there.
That's cool.
That's
awesome.
So I'll be reaching out to a few.
Yeah. This before we get to your surprise, because that's what we're gonna do next. The comments say Art by Committee says that's an awesome idea. Godric Snow, that may work like what Assassin's Creed had in their maps. Arkham Lover, I believe Ubisoft does something similar with AC, so maybe use your media powers to hit them up? Question mark. And then they're being twinsies by saying the same things. So here's what we're gonna do. We added a scene last minute, and that's why I accidentally started the stream early, because I was trying to fix it and I clicked whatever. So I need to make a quick adjustment and add our audio into the next scene. So you guys are going to have a blank scene. Well, it's not blank. It has a wonderful background photo on it. You just got to wait, Arkham Lover. Yes, a surprise. It's going to be wonderful. But give me just a minute while I get the audio. We're going to disappear just for a second so I can get that in there. So think about any questions, final questions that you have, and here we go. If I can get it to work. Okay. Can you guys hear us? Can you hear us? Let me know in the chat.
Disco dancing
Has been moved up. Yes, they do indeed hear us. Okay, so go ahead and share screen.
Try and share the screen now.
Okay, and
good. There we go.
Would you like? Would you like to talk about it first? And
yes.
Then we'll reveal it? Okay.
Oh well, it's probably already revealed, I guess.
No, it's not.
But,
it's got an image covering up. Yep. So.
Right, I see. So I obviously just mentioned the desire to expand and get more community-based posts on there. So I'm sure a lot of you already know Drew Taylor, who was in the chat earlier. He's probably in bed now because it's got to be 2, 3 in the morning. So Drew was one of the people that I first approached, and he was more than obliging in producing some content for the blog. And hopefully you've all seen his recent work on Fortnite, which does a lot to sort of challenge the perspectives on what you think a game is about. So people think Fortnite's just a kid's game. And he's really showing that it can be way more than that from a creative perspective. So the blog is about to be updated now with a new post, which is an interview between me and Drew, and it's got some really fantastic background into Drew's.
Scroll back up on your page because I'm going to reveal
sorry.
it now. It's okay.
Go on then.
I'm going to reveal it now. Ready? Drum roll. And there we go.
There we go. So this is an interview between me and Drew, covering his Fortnite gallery. So that fantastic sort of 3-dimensional virtual gallery that you can walk through and see his first 100 shots from his Fortnite project. But also a really fascinating background into his really rich and varied history in game art before virtual photography. So virtual photography is the newest form of game art. It's by no means the first form of game art. So we're going to publish that now. Here you can see a little bit more insight into the blog process actually. So I've got the cover image there. Obviously create the banner as well. Search engine optimization, so just what the URL will be called, what it will appear on the searches, etc. All the boring bits. Tag. So we'll publish that now, and you should all be able to check that out on the fourth focus. It should appear top center of the front page. I hope you enjoy it because I really enjoyed putting it together. I think the stuff that Drew's talked about there is super interesting, and I hope you all enjoy that. It's not one of the shortest posts, but I hope you get through it. I'm sure you'll enjoy it.
I don't know if you're seeing the comments that are going on right now. Drew is in the chat, by the way. I'm going to switch back to our just chatting.
Excellent. Well, thank you again, Drew. I know I've said this many times, but thank you once more for all this.
Yeah, if you'll go ahead and unshare your screen for me.
Sure.
And then that'll bring it. I forgot to tell us to do that before I switched this over. Got weird framing. I had to kind of like throw that in there, guys. So sorry about that. But yeah, everybody is. There's a couple comments of proceeds to pick my mouth up from the floor. And then nice. Wow, live publishing. I feel like I'm at the inauguration of a museum. Hello, Apple VGP. I'm just looking through the chat. Drew says it was an absolute honor, Mick. Your questions were amazing. So yeah, I hope you guys like the suspense. That was fun to build that. I'm gonna do that more often. I'm just gonna make you look at a blank screen while I talk about it. What's behind the curtain? But anyway, before we wrap up, we've got about 5 minutes. So are there any other final comments or any questions or anything that you would like to add, Mick?
Anything I would like to add? I don't know. No, I don't know. Just go and donate. You know, if you're enjoying the stream, support the cause, support Rachel, support Len. They're doing such a great job running this. Stick with them. Watch it. I will try and watch as much as I can. I'm going to enjoy your Ghost of Tsushima. What difficulty are you going to play it on? Play it on lethal.
I always
no,
play.
dude.
No, lethal. I'll die immediately.
Yes, you will. But it's honestly, it's better. I'm not like the greatest at staying alive in games, but I play Tsushima on lethal because it seems to work better. The sword play is more immediate, like because you're more dangerous as well. So you kill them quicker, but they kill you quicker. Okay, but it feels more deliberate then. So you've got to be very cautious, and I think it's more rewarding. It gets a bit slashy on normal. Try it. Put it to a vote. The commenters can vote.
Yes. Should I go normal like I normally go? That's usually where I play. I usually don't play on easy, but I play on normal. Should I go normal? No. Or lethal? I didn't know about lethal. I'll have to try it. What drives you to get so many hecking plats? I don't know what that means.
Oh, me.
Yeah.
Good question. Yeah, when the trophy system was introduced, I got quite into the trophies, and I went. I don't do it as much now because I don't have the time because of virtual photography. Funnily enough, but I used to go all out. If I'd enjoyed a game, I would commit to getting the platinum for it. So I don't know how many I've got now. About 70, or something like that.
Wow.
The last one was Ghost of Tsushima.
Arco says, I'll donate at least $50 if you do lethal.
There you go. That's it. Decided.
Oh, God. Now it's up to me. Jeez. I don't want that $50 to not meet our goal. That would be awful. That's so much pressure. You guys. Well, oh, geez. You guys are funny. I don't understand exactly what you're talking about, but I think I get what you're talking about now as far as spicy takes, but I'm not sure. But anyway, well, that is it for this session. Where can everybody find you at?
Where can you find me? So thefourthfocus.com is the permanent URL, and obviously probably already know me mostly on Twitter, so at the Fourth Focus. I'm also on Instagram, but not actively. So my Instagram is kind of a dormant mosaic. So don't expect much content from me on there, but it's as a presence. But yeah, if you want to get in touch, you can email me at micklsp@thefourthfocus.com or just DM on Twitter. I'm always happy to hear from you.
Cool. Well, thank you guys for joining us. And please, you guys have been so awesome already with your donations. Please keep bringing those in. It's all going to the kids. It's super, super important to all of us here. So thank you again for everything. And I hope you guys have a wonderful day today. So enjoy the rest of, man, we've got a full day ahead of us. Oh,
We've got a
man.
long time left yet.
So stay tuned. So much
Thanks a lot.
stuff. So, all right. Bye, guys.
See ya.
If I can't get this right.